Horizon Forbidden West is the long-awaited sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn and throws Aloy into a beautiful but dying world full of powerful machines as she tries to discover why the world is ending. The game gives you a lot of tricks up your sleeve to stop the apocalypse, again, so here are 9 things I wish I knew before playing Horizon Forbidden West. It might not feel like it, but it has been 5 whole years since Horizon Zero Dawn launched for PlayStation 4. If you don't know your Elizabeth Sobek from your Ted Faro, or remember exactly what Gaia and her subordinate functions did, I definitely recommend checking out a recap before you boot up Horizon Forbidden West. The game takes place 6 months after the events of Zero Dawn, and while it has a brief video explainer at the start, it's really in your best interest to watch a recap if you haven't played Zero Dawn recently. Trust me on this. Luckily for you, we made a great one right here on GameSpot that you can check out after you finish this video. Horizon Forbidden West comes with a great suite of options and accessibility features to tweak, and I really recommend looking through the menus because some of the options are incredibly useful. Horizon is a beautiful game that encourages exploration, so I'd recommend playing in Explorer mode and changing your HUD to be dynamic. That way there's less on-screen HUD clutter to improve your immersion. In a fight, Horizon can throw a lot at you, and different enemies will have different weaknesses. To give yourself a little advantage, change your weapon wheel slowdown to slower. That way you can swap ammo types and weapons with ease with less risk of getting run over by a charging machine. And I'm speaking from experience, because that happened to me all the time. If you find yourself in the middle of the desert without an overridden mount to ride to your next location, you might get a bit fed up with needing to push in the thumbstick to make Aloy sprint. You can set her to auto-sprint both on foot and when on a mount, which is very useful for traversing big distances. Just don't forget to turn it off if you're undertaking a platforming section, because otherwise you might miss that pixel-perfect jump. Horizon Forbidden West has 6 huge skill trees compared to Zero Dawn's 4, allowing you to spec Aloy in a way that's more closely in line with how you want to play the game. The skill trees can be overwhelming at first, but because upgrade points come in pretty thick and fast, it's in your best interest to experiment. Leveling up and completing missions, including side content, gives you a couple of points per activity, and early skill tree abilities, including active skills and passive buffs, are relatively cheap. A couple that I'd recommend getting early on are Silent Strike Heal from the Infiltrator tree, to gain back health when you use a Silent Strike. It's super useful if you're taking out a fortress and you run out of healing items. In the Survivor tree, invest in Potent Medicine to improve the speed and amount of health you get from medicinal berries, and grab Plant Forager as fast as you can. Aloy needs to do a lot of ammo crafting, so this comes in clutch. If you're big into laying traps for your enemies, definitely prioritize that skill tree. Not only can you lay and make traps quicker, but you can take less damage if you accidentally set off one of your own. New to Forbidden West are Valor Surges, powerful unlockable abilities that can really give you the edge in a fight. Think of them as Aloy's ultimates. You can unlock a few and swap them on the fly, but as you can invest more points to upgrade the abilities and make them stronger, here are some good ones to prioritize. In the Infiltrator tree, Stealth Stalker allows you to temporarily activate a cloaking device in the middle of battle. Be aware that you won't go completely invisible, but it's enough to help you lose some heat. At higher levels, you get a damage boost against unaware enemies, and if you kill them while cloaked, you can prolong your cloaking for longer. Also in the Infiltrator tree is Radial Blast, which acts as a knockback if you find yourself completely surrounded by enemies. Firing this off sends out a shockwave that damages everyone around you, and it's extremely useful in a pinch. If you take anything away from this video, I hope it's this. The traps you lay are OP. When I played Zero Dawn, I think I only laid the ones in the tutorial and never really bothered again. In Forbidden West, I was fully ready to commit to my bow lifestyle again. And look, I fully admit that when possible, I am a stealth archer. But when I came up against a really tough boss and was completely out of the ammo type that carried its elemental weakness, I remembered that I had that ammo in abundance in trap form. Those traps decimated that boss's health bar and fully built up the elemental bar too, meaning that it started to take extra damage over time. Now, I stealth around battle arenas and carefully lay traps everywhere. There's no greater joy than watching a machine fall into your perfectly laid trap.
What was that?
Aloy's focus is incredibly useful, and while you'll mostly use it to ping the environment to find collectibles, items, and handholds to climb, you should be using it at the start of every fight. The game tries to encourage you to do this at the start, but it's very easy to forget. But let me tell you, the Forbidden West has a bunch of new machines to come up against, and it's in your best interest to scan each and every one for weaknesses. When scanning with your focus, hit the touchpad to pause time completely to read all the strengths and weaknesses information way more easily. It tells you whether you're able to use the machine as a mount, as well as giving you a rundown of all the possible loot you can get from it, including valuable information about how to get it off the creature. This is definitely worth taking note of, as some resources get destroyed if you don't detach them from the machine's body before killing it. Plus, some parts drop weapons that you can use against the machines you're fighting against. So make sure to hide in the bushes and scan, scan, scan. Don't get attached to one weapon. Throughout the course of Forbidden West, you'll find a truckload, either through the story or by buying them from the many merchants you'll come across. While you can upgrade them at the workbench, honestly, I would save those resources and upgrade later in the game, because at the start, you'll quickly get better weapons anyway. If you want to upgrade anything at the start of the game, you should prioritize your pouches by hunting organic animals. That way you can carry more weapons and ammo. It's important to make sure that every elemental weakness is covered though, so you don't come up short against certain machines. And to help you out on the battlefield, make sure you have Weapon Quick Swap turned on in the menus. Tapping L1 mid-fight will swap to either your last used weapon or a particular one that you've predetermined in the weapon wheel. Across the course of the game, Aloy will scavenge and pick up many items, and while a lot can be used for crafting, some are just marked automatically as valuables to sell. Instead of mass selling those whenever you get to a merchant, make sure you're not actually hanging on to something that could have another use. Some machine hearts are used for upgrades, and other items can be used to buy machine parts from salvage contractor merchants. Make sure it says that the item is only used for selling for metal shards before selling something you might regret. You might be tempted to mainline the story, but there's a lot of great side content and character moments you'll miss out on if you do. The side quests are really fun and well written, and feel fresher than the ones from Zero Dawn. There are also collectibles and relic ruins, which are climbing puzzles that reminded me a lot of the ones from Assassin's Creed 2. Even unlocking the tall necks is fun, requiring you to work a little harder to reach the top of the giant creatures. When you get there though, you get to unlock the map, and the shockwave it emits kills all the surrounding machines, which gives you a little XP boost and items to loot. And you get to glide off the top of it, which I'd argue is the biggest reward. So there's some starter tips for Horizon Forbidden West, but if you're looking for help with combat, our very own Max Blumenthal is putting together his best combat tips for you. So make sure you like this video and subscribe to GameSpot so you don't miss it. I'm on Twitter at LucyJamesGames. Thanks for watching.